right. Welcome back to my stream. This is going to be sort of a short morning stream. I have just a little bit of time where I have the house to myself before I have to do any work. So, we're going to continue our epic saga where we are reading the complete works of Sara Teasdale in alphabetical order. So, last stream we ended in the D's. So we have a ways to go. I'm going to turn on my treadmill, do some walking while I read. That does add some noise, but hopefully you don't find it too disturbing. It's quite cold in my office this morning, so moving around helps keep me warm. All right, let's dive right in. So our first poem today is called Dew by Sara Teasdale. As dew leaves the cobweb lightly threaded with stars, scattering jewels on the fence and the pasture bars. As dawn leaves the dry grass bright, and the tangled weeds bearing a rainbow gem on each of their seeds, so has your love, my lover, fresh as the dawn, made me a shining road to travel on. Set every common sight of tree or stone delicately alight, for me alone. That was dew. And I realize now there's something missing from my stream. My lovely background music was muted. Streaming, as it turns out, a little hard. There are all sorts of things you can screw up. So many things you have to check before you start streaming. I suppose I'll get better at it over time. Alrighty. Continuing on, the next poem by Sara Teasdale in alphabetical order is Did You Never Know? Did you never know long ago how much you loved me? That your love would never lessen and never go? You were young then, proud and fresh-hearted. You were too young to know. Fate is a wind and red leaves fly before it, far apart, far away in the gusty time of year. Seldom we meet now, but when I hear you speaking, I know your secret, my dear, my dear. That was Did You Never Know Next up is doctors. Every night I lie awake, and every day I lie abed, and hear the doctors' pain and death conferring at my head. They speak in scientific tones, professional and low. One argues for a speedy cure, the other sure and slow. To one so humble as myself, it should be matter for some pride to have such noted fellows here conferring at my side. Next we have dooryard roses. I have come the self-same path to the self-same door. Years have left the roses there, burning as before. While I watch them in the wind, quick the hot tears start. Strange, so frail a flame outlasts fire in the heart. That was dooryard roses. Very pretty. Next is doubt. Excuse me while I clear my throat. Okay. Doubt by Sara Teasdale. My soul lives in my body's house, and you have both the house and her. But sometimes she is less your own than a wild, gay adventurer, restless and an eager wraith. How can I tell what she will do? Oh, I am sure of my body's faith. But what if my soul broke faith with you? Ooh, I like that one. That one's quite good. That was Doubt by Sara Teasdale. I like that indeed. Next is called Dream Song. I plucked a snowdrop in the spring, and in my hand too closely pressed. The warmth had hurt the tender thing. I grieved to see it withering. I gave my love a poppy red and laid it on her snow-cold breast. But poppies need a warmer bed. We wept to find the flower was dead. Next is Dreams by Sara Teasdale. I gave my life to another lover. I gave my love and all. But over a dream the past will hover. Out of a dream the past will call. I tear myself from sleep with a shiver, but on my breast a kiss is hot, and by my bed the ghostly giver waiting, though I see him not. I think many of her poems are on the same theme. Of being with one person, but loving a different one. Next up, we have Driftwood by Sara Teasdale. My forefathers gave me my spirit's shaken flame, the shape of hands, the beat of the heart, the letters of my name. But it was my lovers and not my sleeping sires who gave the flame its changeful and iridescent fires. As the driftwood burning learned its jeweled blaze, from the sea's blue splendor of colored nights and days. That's a very interesting one. I mean, in addition to just being nice to listen to, it does have a very nice sound. But I also feel like it has something interesting to say. Next up we have Dusk in Autumn by Sara Teasdale. The moon is like a scimitar, a little silver scimitar, drifting down the sky. And near beside it is a star, a timid twinkling golden star that watches like an eye. And through the nursery window pane, the witches have a fire again, just like the ones we make. And now I know they're having tea. I wish they'd give a cup to me with witches' currant cake. Yes, this is exactly the sort of poem I like. That was Dusk in Autumn by Sara Teasdale. And now, since we're going in alphabetical order, we have another Dusk poem. This one is called Dusk in June. Evening and all the birds, in a chorus of shimmering sound, are easing their hearts of joy for miles around. The air is blue and sweet. The first few stars are white. Oh, let me like the birds sing before night. Perfect. And another Dusk. She wrote 3 poems starting with Dusk. Dusk in Autumn, Dusk in June, and now finally we have Dusk in Wartime. Perhaps this one will be a little bit less pleasant. A half hour more and you will lean to gather me close in the old sweet way, But oh, to the woman over the sea, who will come at the close of day. A half hour more, and I will hear the key in the latch and the strong, quick tread. But oh, the woman over the sea, waiting at dusk for one who is dead. I assume, given when she lived, that like her other poems that touch on war, this one is probably about World War I. She lived, let me remind myself, she lived from 1884 to 1933. So World War I would have been right in the middle of her life. The next poem is called Dust. When I went to look at what had long been hidden, a jewel laid long ago in a secret place, I trembled, for I thought to see its dark, deep fire, but only a pinch of dust blew up in my face. I almost gave my life long ago for a thing that has gone to dust now, stinging my eyes. It is strange how often a heart must be broken before the years can make it wise. That was Dust by Sara Teasdale. And that concludes the D's in our adventure here to read all of Sara Teasdale's poems in alphabetical order. And so begin the E's with a poem called Ebb Tide. When the long day goes by and I do not see your face, the old wild restless sorrow steals from its hiding place. My day is barren and broken, bereft of light and song. The sea beach bleak and windy that moans the whole day long. To the empty beach at ebb tide, bare with its rocks and scars, come back like the sea was singing, and light of a million stars. I think I like that one quite a bit. Very lonely, morose, but not in an entirely depressing way, in my opinion. Maybe I'm different than most in that way. Sometimes images of solitude, I don't find them depressing at all. I find them quite relaxing. I guess maybe that's why I like to sit here in my stream with no viewers, as at the moment I have no live viewers, reading poetry ostensibly to the entire world, but just to myself. Okay. Next up we have a poem called Effigy of a Nun. This one is a little bit longer than most of hers, but I can tell some of her long poems are very much like prose rather than poetry. They have less regular meter and rhyme. Not to say they're entirely devoid of meter and rhyme, but it's just a little less front and center. But in this one, I can tell it has a very traditional structure just from looking at it. We have stanzas of 4 lines. And each stanza appears to have an ABCB rhyming scheme. Not the strongest rhyming scheme, but enough to hold it together. Okay, that's enough blathering on. Here is Effigy of a Nun by Sara Teasdale. Infinite gentleness, infinite irony are in this face with fast-sealed eyes, and round this mouth that learned in loneliness how useless their wisdom is to the wise. In her nun's habit carved carefully, lovingly, by one who knew the ways of womankind, this woman's face still keeps its cold, wistful calm, all the subtle pride of her mind. These pale, curved lips of hers holding their hidden smile show she had weighed the world, her will was set. These long patrician hands clasping the crucifix, once having made their choice, had no regret. She was one of those who hoard their own thoughts lovingly, feeling them far too dear to give away, content to look at life with the high, insolent air of an audience watching a play. If she was curious, if she was passionate, she must have told herself that love was great, but that the lacking it might be as great a thing if she held fast to it, challenging fate. She who so loved herself and her own warring thoughts, watching their humorous, tragic rebound in her thick habit's fold, sleeping, sleeping. Is she amused at the dreams she has found? Infinite tenderness, infinite irony, hidden forever in her closed eyes, that must have learned too well in their long loneliness how empty their wisdom is, even to the wise. I'm not sure how to feel about that. I might need to come back to that one and read it again. Someday, not today. For today we march on tirelessly in our pursuit of reading the complete works of Sara Teasdale from A to Z. And next up we have a poem called 8 o'clock. Supper comes at 5 o'clock, at 6 the evening star. My lover comes at 8 o'clock, but 8 o'clock is far. How could I bear my pain all day unless I watched to see the clock hands laboring to bring 8 o'clock to me? I think we can all relate to that poem. The next one is called Embers. I said my youth is gone like a fire beaten out by the rain that will never sway and sing or play with the wind again. I said it is no great sorrow that quenched my youth in me, but only little sorrows beating ceaselessly. I thought my youth was gone, but you returned. Like a flame at the call of the wind, it leaped and burned. Threw off its ashen cloak and gowned anew, gave itself like a bride once more to you. That was Embers. Next we have Enough by Sara Teasdale. It is enough for me by day to walk the same bright earth with him. Enough that over us by night the same great roof of stars is dim. I do not hope to bind the wind or set a fetter on the sea. It is enough to feel his love blow by like music over me. How nice. Very nice. Next we have Epitaph. Serene descent as a red leaf's descending, when there is neither wind nor noise of rain, but only autumn air and the unending drawing of all things to the earth again. So be it, let the snow fall deep and cover all that was drunken once with light and air. The earth will not regret her tireless lover, nor he awake to know she does not care. I think I like that one. I mean, turns out I like almost all of her poems, but this one seems particularly engaging to me. Next up, we have a poem called Arena. This one is quite long and prosy. It looks tiring to read, so I'm going to pause my treadmill and I'm going to have a little water. And clear my throat, for which I will mute the mic. All right. Now I think we're ready to engage this imposing poem called Arena by by Sara Teasdale. They sent you in to say farewell to me. No, do not shake your head, I see your eyes that shine with tears. Sappho, you saw the sun just now when you came hither, and again. When you have left me, all the shimmering great metals will laugh lightly, and the sun put round about you warm invisible arms, as might a lover decking you with light. I go toward darkness, though I lie so still. If I could see the sun, I should look up and drink the light until my eyes were blind. I should kneel down and kiss the blades of grass, and I should call the birds with such a voice, with such a longing tremulous and keen, that they would fly to me and on the breast bear evermore to treetops and to fields the kiss I gave them. Sappho, tell me this, was I not sometimes fair? My eyes, my mouth, my hair that loved the wind, were they not worth the breath of love upon them? Yet he passed, and he will pass tonight when all the air is blue with twilight, but I shall not see. I shall have gone forever. Hold my hands, hold fast, that death may never come between. Swear by the gods you will not let me go. Make songs for death as you would sing to love, but you will not assuage him. He alone of all the gods will take no gifts from men. I am afraid, afraid. Sappho leaned down. Last night the fever gave a dream to me. It takes my life and gives little dream. I thought I saw him stand, the man I love, here in my quiet chamber, with his eyes fixed on me as I entered, while he drew silently toward me, he who night by night goes by my door without a thought of me, neared me and put his hand behind my bed, and leaning toward me, kissed me on the mouth. That was a little dream for death to give, too short to take the whole of life for, yet I woke with lips made quiet by a kiss. The dream is worth the dying. Do not smile so sadly on me with your shining eyes, you who can set your sorrow to a song and ease your hurt by singing. To me, my songs are less than sea sand that the wind drives over, stinging over me and bears away. I have no care what place the grains may fall, nor of my songs if time shall blow them back, as land wind breaks the lines of dying foam along the bright wet beaches, scattering the flakes once more against the laboring sea. Into oblivion. What care have I to please Apollo, since love hearkens not? Your words will live forever, men will say. She was the perfect lover, I shall die. I love too much to live, go, Sappho, go. I hate your hands that beat so full of life. Go, lest my hatred hurt you. I shall die, but you will live to love and love again. He might have loved some other springs than this. I should have kept my life, I let it go. He would not love me now, though, cypress bound, her girdle round me. I am death's, not love's. Go from me, Sappho, back to find the sun. I am alone, alone, O Cyprian. That was a poem called Irina by Sara Teasdale. It's not the type of poem that I typically like, but I found it engaging enough, I guess. Worth the time it took to read it. Now on to the next poem. This is the final poem, beginning with E. This is called Evening, New York. It's quite short. Blue dust of the evening over my city, over the ocean roofs and the tall towers, where the window lights, myriads and myriads, bloom from the walls like climbing flowers. That was Evening, New York by Sara Teasdale. And that was the last of the E's. Next, of course, will be the F's in our quest to read all of the poems of Sara Teasdale from A to Z. I feel like taking a break in this quest at the moment. Maybe just quietly doing some ASMR. Sound you might be hearing slightly in the background. It is daytime here. My house is quite quiet, but there's only so much I can do. Shooting an interview in a noisy environment, and you need to focus on one person's voice, and that person might not have a mic right next to their mouth. But with the mics right next to my mouth, these shotgun mics are a little strange, I think. I think I like them, actually. But they don't give that sound of very sensitive, though. That's, I think, the most important part, that they be very sensitive and very low noise. Low self-noise, that is. That's what you need for picking up very quiet ASMR triggers. Okay. It is very relaxing doing these gentle triggers, but I do want to continue with my mission. My mission of reading the complete works of Sara Teasdale. Which sounds like more than it really is. It's not actually that much. Looks like I'm already a third of the way through or so, even though I only just completed the E's. And I'm about to start the F's. Let's go ahead and do that. Starting with a poem called Faces by Sara Teasdale. People that I meet and pass in the city's broken roar. Faces that I lose so soon and have never found before. Do you know how much you tell in the meeting of our eyes? How ashamed I am and sad to have pierced your poor disguise. Secrets rushing without sound, crying from your hiding places. Let me go, I cannot bear the sorrow of the passing faces. People in the restless street, can it be, oh can it be? In the meeting of our eyes, that you know as much of me. It's interesting. A nice observation about living among strangers in an urban area. Next up, we have a poem called Fault. They came to tell your faults to me. They named them over one by one. I laughed aloud when they were done. I knew them all so well before. Oh, they were blind, too blind to see. Your faults had made me love you more. It's a nice thought. Well, that's interesting. This collection has that same poem twice. Once with the title Fault, and once with the title Faults. I suspect the title is Fault. And I'm not going to read it again, even though it was quite nice, because I believe that's a mistake in this collection. The next poem is called Fear by Sara Teasdale. I am afraid, oh I am so afraid. The cold black fear is clutching me tonight. As long ago when they would take the light and leave the little child who would have prayed, frozen and sleepless at the thought of death. My heart that beats too fast will rest soon. I shall not know if it be night or noon, yet shall I struggle in the dark for breath. Will no one fight the terror for my sake, the heavy darkness that no dawn will break? How How can they leave me in that dark alone, who loved the joy of light and warmth so much, and thrilled so with the sense of sound and touch? How can they shut me underneath a stone? Not her most uplifting poem, but very nicely done, I must say. Next we have a poem called February. They spoke of him I love with cruel words and gay. My lips kept silent guard on all I could not say. I heard, and down the street, the lonely trees in the square stood in the winter wind, patient and bare. I heard, oh voiceless trees, under the wind I knew the eager, terrible spring hidden in you. Not what I was expecting of a poem called February, but it was nice. Okay. The next one is called February Twilight. I stood beside a hill, smooth with new-laid snow. A single star looked out from the cold evening glow. There was no other creature that saw what I could see. I stood and watched the evening star as long as it watched me. That was February Twilight by Sara Teasdale. Next we have Florence by Sara Teasdale. The bells ring over the Anno, midnight, the long, long chime. Here in the quivering darkness, I am afraid of time. Oh, gray bells, cease your tolling, time takes too much from me. And yet, to rock and river, he gives eternity. That's very nice. Here's one called For the Anniversary of John Keats' Death. This one has a specific date on it, it being an anniversary. February 23rd, 1821. That must be John Keats' death, because that was before she was born by 12 years. At midnight, when the moonlit cypress trees have woven round his grave a magic shade, still weeping the unfinished hymn he made, there moves fresh Maya like a morning breeze, blown over jonquil beds when warm rains cease, and stooping where her poet's head is laid. Celine weeps while all the tides are stayed, and swaying seas are darkened into peace. But they who wake the meadows and the tides have hearts too kind to bid him wake from sleep, who murmurs sometimes when his dreams are deep, startling the quiet land where he abides, and charming still sad-eyed Persephone with visions of the sunny earth and sea. That was For the Anniversary of John Keats' Death by Sara Teasdale. Next up we have Four Winds by Sara Teasdale. Four winds blowing through the sky, you have seen poor maidens die. Tell me then what I shall do, that my lover may be true. Said the wind from out the south, lay no kiss upon his mouth. And the wind from out the west wound the heart within his breast. And the wind from out the east sent him empty from the feast. And the wind from out the north in the tempest thrust him forth. When thou art more cruel than he, then will love be kind to thee. That's quite an interesting message, an interesting idea. If you love someone, be cruel to them so that they will be kind to you. I want to say, of course, that that's not the right way, that you shouldn't do that, but the fact is that some people do work that way. Some people. Not everybody. This one is called From the North. The northern woods are delicately sweet. The lake is folded softly by the shore, but I am restless for the subway's roar, the thunder and the hurrying of feet. I try to sleep, but still my eyelids beat against the image of the tower that bore me high aloft, as if through heaven's door. I watched the world from God's unshaken seat. I would go back and breathe with quickened sense the tunnel's strong, hard breath of powdered steel. But at the ferries I should leave the tense, dark air behind, and I should mount and be one among many who are thrilled to feel the first keen sea breath from the open sea. That was From the North by Sara Teasdale. The next poem is called From the Sea, and it is quite long. Quite long. And quite prose heavy, more prose than poetry, I would say. Not usually my most favorite type of poem. But here we are. We are on a quest. We have a mission. And that mission is to read every poem by Sara Teasdale from A to Z. And so therefore, even if this particular poem doesn't seem promising, and even though it will definitely take some time to read, we have a mission, and we're going to complete it. And so therefore, here is From the Sea by Sara Teasdale. All beauty calls you to me, and you seem past twice 1,000 miles of shifting sea to reach me. You are as the wind I breathe here on the ship's sun-smitten topmost deck, with only light between the heavens and me. I feel your spirit, and I close your eyes, knowing the bright hair blowing in the sun, the eager whisper in the searching eyes. Listen, I love you, do not turn your face, nor touch me, only stand and watch a while the blue, unbroken circle of the sea. Look far away and let me ease my heart of words that beat in it with broken wing. Look far away, and if I say too much, forget that I am speaking. Only watch how like a gull that sparkling sinks to rest, the foam crest drifts along a happy wave toward the bright verge, the boundary of the world. I am so weak a thing, praise me for this, that in some strange way I was strong enough to keep my love unuttered and to stand. Although I longed to kneel to you that night, you looked at me with ever-calling eyes. Was I not calm? And if you guessed my love, you thought it something delicate and free, soft as the sound of fir trees in the wind, fleeting as phosphorescent stars in foam. Yet in my heart there was a beating storm, bending my thoughts before it, and I strove to say too little, lest I say too much, and from my eyes to drive love's happy shame. Yet when I heard your name the first far time, it seemed like other names to me, and I was all unconscious as a dreaming river that nears at last its long predestined sea. And when you spoke to me, I did not know that to my life's high altar came its priest. But now I know, between my God and me, you stand forever nearer God than I. And in your hands, with faith and utter joy, I would that I could lay my woman's soul. O my love, to whom I cannot come with any gift of body or of soul, I pass and go. But sometimes when you hear blown back to you my wistful, far-off singing touched with tears, know that I sang for you alone to hear, and that I wondered if the wind would bring to him who turned my heart its distant song. So might a woman who in loneliness had borne a child, dreaming of days to come, wonder if it would please its father's eyes. But long before I ever heard your name, always the undertone's unchanging note in all my singing had prefigured you, foretold you as a spark foretells the flame. Yet I was free as an untethered cloud in the great space between sky and sea, and might have blown before the wind of joy like a bright banner woven by the sun. I did not know the longing in the night. You who have waked me cannot give sleep. All things in all the world can rest, but I, even the smooth brief respite of a wave when it gives up its broken crown of foam, even that little rest I may not have. And yet all quiet loves of friends, all joy and all the piercing beauty of the world, I would give up, go blind forevermore, rather than have God blot from out my soul remembrance of your voice that said my name. For us no starlight stilled the April fields, no birds awoke in darkling trees for us. Yet where we walked the city's street that night, felt in our feet the singing fire of spring, and in our path we left a trail of light, soft as the phosphorescence of the sea when night submerges in the vessel's wake, a heaven of unborn evanescent stars. was From the Sea by Sara Teasdale. It was good, but not really my sort of poem. It's the kind of poem that wants to be a story and sacrifices too much poetry in order to tell the story. But for that sort of poem, it was, I guess, quite good. Quite long. Okay. I think I have time to continue a little bit. We're certainly approaching the end of my available time. There's something poetic about that. Oh dear. It looks like the next poem, in alphabetical order, is also long. Though not quite as long. That's okay. Here we go. We can do it. This is called From the Woolworth Tower. Vivid with love, eager for greater beauty, out of the night we come, into the corridor brilliant and warm. A metal door slides open, and the lift receives us. Swiftly, with sharp, unswerving flight, the car shoots upward, and the air, swirling and angry, howls like 100 devils. Past the maze of trim bronze doors, steadily we ascend. I cling to you, conscious of the chasm under us, and a terrible whirring deafens my ears. The flight is ended. We pass through a door leading onto the ledge, wind, night, and space. O terrible height, why have we sought you? O bitter wind with icy invisible wings, why do you beat us? Why would you bear us away? We look through the miles of air, the cold blue miles between us and the city. Over the edge of eternity we look, on all the lights, 1,000 times more numerous than the stars. O lines and loops of light in unwound chains that mark for miles and miles the vast black mazy cobweb of the streets. Near us, clusters and splashings of living gold that change far off to bluish steel, where the fragile lights on the Jersey shore tremble like drops of wind-stirred dew. The strident noises of the city floating up to us are hallowed into whispers. Fairies cross through the darkness, weaving a golden thread into the night. Their whistles weird shadows of sound. We feel the millions of humanity beneath us, the warm millions moving under the roofs, consumed by their own desires, preparing food, sobbing alone in a garret, with burning eyes bending over a needle, aimlessly reading the evening paper, dancing in the naked light of the cafe, laying out the dead, bringing a child to birth. The sorrow, the torpor, the bitterness, the frail joy come up to us like a cold fog wrapping us round. Oh, in 100 years, not one of these blood-warm bodies but will be worthless as clay. The anguish, the torpor, the toil will have passed to other millions, consumed by the same desires. Ages will come and go, darkness will blot the lights, and the tower will be laid on the earth. The sea will remain, black and unchanging. The stars will look down, brilliant and unconcerned. Beloved, though sorrow, futility, and defeat surround us, they cannot bear us down. Here on the abyss of eternity, love has crowned us for a moment victors. That was From the Woolworth Tower by Sara Teasdale. And that is the end of the F's in our quest to read all of Sara Teasdale's poems from A to Z. Up next, of course, are the G's. But I'm nearing the end of my time today, so I'm going to stop there before starting the G's. I have a few more minutes, so I'll just do some quiet triggers, just in case somebody is using this VOD later to fall asleep. I'd like to send you off to sleep very gently and very quietly. I do like quiet, gentle triggers myself. I seek them out when I'm trying to fall asleep or relax. You have to be very careful, though, with some of these triggers to keep them quite soft when you're this close to the mic. One false step, and it's death to the eardrums of your listeners. I hope you enjoyed being with me today, and I hope you join me again for my next installment, where we will continue reading the complete works of Sara Teasdale. I really like her poems. I only just discovered her a few days ago. It's hard to find really good poetry that's in the public domain so that I can read it on the stream. So much older poetry is either very pretentious or uses